Hello everybody, Andy here again. Well, recently I did a video a while ago anyway. I did a video in response to Gary Anakin 1814 talking about sort of running that I used to do years ago. And I've sort of finally succumbed and I've actually started running again. And it sort of makes you realise how old you are. You know, you get to the point of 50 now, you know, and every time you try to get back into running, the older you get, the harder it becomes, because you know you suddenly start to realise, although you feel great mentally and you feel pretty good, you know, I feel pretty good, you know, I've still got my hair and it's not too grey, it's a little bit, few bits, you know, but you know what I mean, I feel in pretty good shape. But it's when you start to do something like that, it's when you start to sort of go out there and pound the pavements again, even if it's only for sort of quarter of an hour or something like that, then you suddenly start to realise that you're not quite as fit as you used to be, and you can't quite do things that you used to do. My father's like that. I've mentioned in other videos, my father's 91 now, and it's literally only in the last sort of 5, 6, 7 years that it's really starting to take its toll on him. He used to do a lot of walking, always tried to keep himself fit, and I'm probably, you know, after his own image, I suppose, very much like him in that respect. Usually try and keep himself sort of fit. I sort of do little stretching exercises and things like that every morning, which is something that my father, I don't know if he still does them actually, but he used to do them at least up until a few years ago, and I'm sure that sort of thing helps. You know, healthy body, healthy mind, keep them both active, keep them both alert, and you know, thinking, and you know, the body, etc. So I've always tried to sort of be fairly careful about what I eat, but inevitably it all starts to sink down to the middle when you get a bit older. So if you're thinking about it, well, what I'm thinking about is sort of getting out there and doing this, and I'm enjoying it, and I've always enjoyed doing the running, but as I said, you do start to notice the differences. And what happened with me was that I went out and did a little run, and it was literally only sort of a couple of miles, if that, and I thought, well, actually that didn't feel too bad, because I suppose because I've had a fair amount of experience of running, I can listen to my own body, if you know what I mean, and I've got my expectations. I don't raise them too high, although I'll probably try and do too much, which I'll come to in a minute. So what happened after 2 days, I sort of every other day for a week, I was going out and doing a little run and getting better and better and starting to feel really good about it. And that's one of the other things that you find, that if you do exercise, that type of thing, is that you sit at home and you feel really lethargic and you think, oh no, I can't be bothered to go and sort of do that exercise. And as I've said before, the hardest step is the one that gets you outside the door in the first place. But when you get out there, it actually makes you, although you've been out for a run and you're probably physically exhausted, you actually feel great. It actually makes you, gives you more energy. So think about that. But one word of warning, if you haven't done it before, please be very, very careful, because any sort of strenuous exercise and all that sort of should carry a health warning. Maybe this video, I should put one at the beginning, or do an annotation or something like that you can do. So anyway, I started doing that and I was out there running, and then after a week I did this run and my knees started going, and I was just thinking, oh no, it's old age, you know. So and I thought, oh, this is typical. This is because one of the reasons I've started running again, partly because I've been thinking about it for a long, long time, and I keep meaning to do it, and you just keep putting it off and you're putting it off, and I realised I hadn't actually done anything for at least a year. And there's always an excuse. We can always think of an excuse. Oh, I've got to do this. Oh, that's it. It's too hot. It's too cold. It's too windy. It's raining. You know, all those sort of things that will stop you doing anything. I don't like gyms, because I think, why pay for it when I can just go and run along the seafront? It doesn't cost me anything. So anyway, to cut a long story short, hopefully, the reason I started running again, because as I said before in another video, I'm coming over to America at the end of September or October, going down to South Tube, but I'm actually going to Chicago first, and I'm meeting Gary Anakin 1814, and as you might know, if you've watched his channel and you've seen some of his vlogs, etc., he's started running. Well, I think I might have partly inspired him, but he's inspired me to get running again. And what we're trying to do, we're hoping to do, is to meet up go out a couple of times, at least once in Chicago, and sort of run along the lakefront in Chicago, which I think would be absolutely great. Sort of run around a couple of sort of American cities, and we're hoping to do the same thing in Nashville. So that sort of spurred me on. But I got this sort of injury. I went to see a friend of mine, luckily enough, who's a physiotherapist, or physioterrorist as I like to call them. and luckily it wasn't anything serious, because I thought it was something that might mean that I might not be able to do any running at all, but it was just purely an overuse thing. Too much too soon, and it's very, very easy to do that. But anyway, today I went out, and sort of a horrible day. A good example, it's pretty windy here. It was horrible. It's dark and grey, as you might be able to tell. So it's windy, it's raining in the air. So I went out along the seafront, down onto the beach, which is something I love to do, run along the beach. And I come back, and I'll show you my shoes. Right. I come back and I suddenly realised that the shoes doesn't feel very good. So I had a look, and I think you see this. Look, it started falling to bits, apart from all the dirt and mud and grime that's all over them. And I thought, well, that's not very good, is it? Because luckily I always keep two pairs of running shoes. If you're going to think about this, have two pairs of running shoes. It's always worthwhile because you can alternate them as well. Anyway, about half a mile further on the other shoe, that's gone there as well. And I was thinking to myself, what's going on here, you know? So I'm probably going to have to buy myself another pair of shoes. But anyway, I just thought I'd say that quickly. Just if you think that partly because of that sort of age thing, you know, that as you get older you have to think about these things more, but it's worth it. Even if you go out and do a walk, it makes you feel better. Get out into the fresh air. Just, you know, as I said, had the health check and all that, especially if you're going to do something strenuous, something that you're not used to, but it does make you feel better. I felt the run today, I went out there and it was hard work. It was right into a fairly stiff wind for the first sort of couple of miles, and I turned around and come back, apart from the shoes, and I got back and I felt really good, as you might be able to tell. And it's that real sort of sense of achievement. It's the best I've felt since I've sort of started running. It's about sort of 4 or so miles, but probably a bit more because it was on the beach. Great to run along the beach. Maybe you've got a place like that, maybe you haven't, but I'm sure you've got somewhere, a park or something you can sort of go to, and just get out there fairly early in the morning and enjoy yourself, get a bit of exercise. But hopefully this might lead on to maybe doing something a bit more, but I'm determined to beat Gary. We don't want it to be a race, but you know what it's going to be like. We're going to be sort of edging each other on and think, oh, you know, inevitable. I think that's a little bit of competition that will come in. So I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully my legs, my body, my Asian body will keep me going for at least another couple of months. I'm going on holiday at the end of this week, actually, going to Spain for a couple of weeks, and I'm intending to take my running shoes with me and hoping to do a little bit of running there if I can. But we shall see. Might be a bit too hot and might not be very easy to do, you know, with everything else that's going on. Anyway, I just thought I'd say that quickly. Hopefully this has been reasonably interesting for you. A Sunday morning jog along the beach. I might do a few more jog vlogs, I think I'm going to call this, and give you some more excuse me, some more information about, you know, what I'm doing and how I'm feeling and all that sort of stuff, in case anyone's interested. Anyway, thanks for your time. I'll speak to you again soon. Goodbye.